Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. In today's video, I'm going to go ahead and be showing you guys some products that I received from Born Pretty. Thank you guys all so much at Born Pretty. I really appreciate it. So we do have a couple of items. I did get a duplicate unfortunately, but it is okay. I absolutely love the color anyways. But the first item that we have here is a solid nail tip glue gel from Born Pretty. It's basically usable for gel X method, and you can use this to go ahead and just place your gel tips on. You can also use it to mold anything you like as well, like sculpture gel, and you can also use it to go ahead and stick on your rhinestones as well, or any chunky charms you guys have. So here I'm gonna go ahead and be basically just showing you guys me removing the packaging, and then just giving you guys a closer look at the product as well. So I've removed the packaging. Now let's go ahead and open up the bottle. Super pretty design. It came very well packaged. It did have the foil here, and I went ahead and just opened it up. So I recommend you actually remove that entire foil from the pot. Otherwise, you guys are going to go ahead and struggle with picking up the product like I did later on throughout the video. You guys will see that. But this is how the consistency looks. Super gorgeous. Now I'm going to go ahead and just remove that excess gel from the little excess foil that I have there, and look at it. It's super gorgeous. I am going to go ahead and give you guys a closer look at this product later on. Here we have 7 milliliters of their matte eggshell top coat. Absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love this product so much. You basically could place any color as your base color, then you apply this and you automatically get that eggshell effect. Super gorgeous, and basically you can use any color. That's one thing I really loved about this product, and I absolutely love the design as well. I've always wanted to go ahead and try it out, and I'm super excited I got this. Super gorgeous. Absolutely loved it. The next item we have here is the reflective glitter top coat. Basically, again, same thing. You can go ahead and apply any base color, then you apply this reflective glitter top coat, and it just automatically becomes reflective, and you get just that beautiful effect as well. For this one, we also have 7 milliliters of product, as I mentioned earlier. Super gorgeous. Just got the bottles look. Next, we have this BP04 color. It's this absolutely gorgeous yellow mustard color. I really loved it. These, I believe, are 10 milliliters each, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I absolutely love these designs of the bottle as well. So here is how the bottle looks, and then you guys can kind of see a sneak peek of the color as well. And now for the next color, we have this color BP52, which actually, like I mentioned earlier, is a duplicate. I've actually have one of these as well. I was like, I've seen this color before when I went ahead and swatched, and I realized like, oh, I already have this one as well. Super pretty, gorgeous burgundy color as well. I'm gonna go ahead and basically let you guys enjoy watching the rest of the video. It's basically gonna go ahead and be the swatches, and then later on I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys step-by-step process of me trying out the solid nail tip glue gel as well. For today's set, I'm going to go ahead and be basically doing a gel set using this Born Pretty solid nail tip glue gel. As you guys can see, it is a very thick consistency. It's super great to work with. I'm very excited. I am going to go ahead and show you guys how this looks. I'm going to first grab my polygel spatula here. It is recommended to actually prep your nails. I only went ahead and basically remove all that cuticle, dead skin around here. I'm going to go ahead and be doing a peel off base coat because I am planning to go ahead and do some other nails before Thanksgiving. But yeah, here you guys can see the difference of these. Just look at this. There's so much cuticle dead skin around there, and that is going to cause lifting. But for this one, as you can see, I basically went ahead and removed that. Here we have a little bit, but that is okay. I do recommend buffing the natural nail, of course, applying your dehydrator, primer, and base coat. And that's basically going to go ahead and give you guys great adhesion for up to 3 weeks. So these are the nail tips that I'm going to go ahead and be using. These are some coffin nail tips. I also do recommend using gel tips or soft gel tips. So here I'm going to go ahead and just grab a little bit of this to go ahead and show you the consistency. As you guys can see, it's super stiff. Just look at this. It's very, it's not going to fall, of course, as you can see. The one thing I also love about this product is that you don't have to hold, according to like the advertised video that I've seen, is that you don't have to hold the nail tip while curing. It is also recommended to actually play with it with your hands, because it's gonna go ahead and just apply some oil or any of that, and that can also cause lifting. Of course, I'm gonna go ahead and be doing that to kind of just show you guys the texture and everything. So here's how it looks. You can also use this to do some 3D art or anything like that, 3D flowers. It just showed a bunch of stuff there. You can do like 3D hearts, and you can also use it to adhere rhinestones, which is great. I think this is probably going to be one of the best things for rhinestones, especially chunky rhinestones or charms as well. So here I'm going to go ahead and do a little ball, and as you can see, it stays in place. It doesn't move at all. You can also just sculpt around basically what you want. I'm going to go ahead and try to do a little heart here with my fingers. Hopefully I can. I don't think I actually can, but as you can see, it doesn't stick to the spatula here. You can go ahead and just pick that up, and any residue doesn't stay on there. You can just go ahead and pick up the excess here. There you guys can see, doesn't stick at all. There is a slight odor, but it isn't too strong either. And yeah, I also do want to mention that the pot does include 5 milliliters of product, or 5 grams, which is basically the same thing as 5 milliliters. But yeah, it does also show you guys the ingredients here. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a few tips of how I prep my nail tips before applying them. Like I mentioned before, I do recommend using gel tips rather than ABS or plastic. The first thing that I do is make sure that I have a guide for the natural nail length, so I'm basically able to know how much gel I should be using. For example, I am the number 1. Here's the number 1. Here's how it looks. And now what I'm going to go ahead and do is basically etch the underside of the nail tip and make sure that it is the same size, or I'm basically etching the same amount that my natural nail length is. So it's basically up to here, so I'm going to go ahead and etch up all the way up until here. So this is the bit that I'm using. It basically comes with each and every single eval kit. It's just a very basic bit, and it just does the job for me, so I really like using it. And so as I mentioned, I am the number 1, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is basically remove the tip, and I'm only going to go ahead and etch very gently. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and kind of just hover it over my nail. And I feel like I still need a little bit more up to here, so I'm going to go ahead and continue etching that. I'm going to grab my dusting brush and just remove any of that dust from my table as well. And this is how the nail tip looks etched. Here's the front of it, and we probably need it a little bit more up until here. I'm going to go ahead and continue doing that once more. Again, I'm going to remove all of that dust, and hopefully I don't have to go in once more, and that is perfect. As you guys can see, it basically meets the end of my natural nail, and I have my guide down, and this nail tip is ready. I'm going to go ahead and continue doing that to each and every single tip, and then I'll be back shortly. Now, once you went ahead and finished pre-etching each and every single nail, I do recommend, again, prepping your nails as always. Like I said, I'm not going to go ahead and be doing that just because I basically make nail content. So what I use to go ahead and remove these nails is this UNT peel off base coat. It's my favorite. As you guys can see, it's basically almost done. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I apply a very thin layer, very thin, onto my natural nail only. Super thin. The thinner the better, and the longer you let it dry, the better it's gonna go ahead and work. Before I used to go ahead and apply 2 coats, but I realized it basically peel off too quick if I apply 2 coats. And I also noticed if I go ahead and wait at least 20 minutes before actually starting my set, it won't peel off as faster than when I usually go ahead and start off right away once it finishes drying. So here, as you guys can see, I basically made sure it is fully coated in that. Now here again, very thin layers. I'm gonna go ahead and continue doing each and every single nail off camera, just because as you guys can see, there's dogs barking and howling right now. Now that the peel off base coat has finished drying, I'm gonna go in with 1 thin layer of my base coat, then cure for about 30 seconds to 60 seconds. I didn't do my full prep like I said, just because I'm gonna take these off, but applying my peel off base coat definitely gives them more adhesion. And while filing or doing any of that, it basically won't pop off. So I'm applying a very thin layer. Then I'm going to go ahead and then cure. So here I'm using this lamp here. I'm going to go ahead and just place it under here, then cure. Now that I went ahead and finished curing, I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this. And my spatula, of course. I'm not too sure how much I'm supposed to use. That is why I'm going to go ahead and just first try it out, and then hopefully by the end I get the hang of it. I don't want to use my fingers, but it is a little bit harder to get out of here. I should have probably removed all of this, but I didn't. So here's the amount that I got. Now I'm going to go ahead and place it onto the nail tip just like so. I'm not too sure if I should mold it yet. I'm actually going to go ahead and just attempt to do it like this. I'm going to go ahead and just flip it over. And in a 45-degree angle basically, I'm going to go ahead and just press it down. As you guys can see, it doesn't move. But the one thing I feel like it's not going to do is, yeah, as you can see, I didn't add enough. I'm missing a lot. Basically, at the free edge, I'm going to continue pressing that down, adding a little bit more pressure. And it's super hard actually to So here's how it looks my first try. It definitely has a lot of bubbles, which I don't really like that. It does stay in place, which is great, you know, you don't need to be holding it on, but still, I feel like with practice definitely gonna achieve the look that I want. So for the next nail, what I'm actually going to do is basically mold it, since I already have my guide of my natural nail. I'm basically going to mold it to the length, you know, with the etching that I have there. And now grabbing a cuticle brush, I'm going to go ahead and remove any of the excess. I'm going to grab it and make sure it doesn't cure. So my dapping dish, I'm gonna go ahead and just apply a little bit of some isopropyl alcohol, and using this little thing here, I'm gonna use it to clean it up. And that is it. Again, this is my first try. A lot of bubbles, but I definitely feel like the second time it'll be better and easier to do. Now, you don't really need a flash cure. You can go ahead and go straight into your lamp. But my lamp is more over there, so I'm gonna go ahead and just use this one here. So before I move on to the next nail, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this foil here. The reason I usually cut them around like this is because sometimes they spill, but this one I should not have a problem with that happening just because it's basically solid consistency. But yeah, this one looks super pretty. And here's how then it looks after curing. Pretty sturdy. Definitely really like. Now on to the next nail. Here's how the nail looks. Okay. Now again, I'm gonna grab some. Swirl it around a little bit, and I have my little bead here. And again, I'm gonna go ahead and just place it down. And try to mold it already into that guide that I have on the nail tip already. So here's how it looks. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just gently press it down. I basically go ahead and try to tuck in. I have a little bit of that either. I basically go ahead and just try to tuck the nail tip right under there. And then I'm gonna go and gently push it down. Here's how it looks. I still feel like I have a bubble here. I didn't apply enough here. But just pressing down basically fix that. So I really like that. I still have bubbles, I noticed. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cure that in my lamp for 30 seconds, then I'll be back. So on this now, I definitely have less bubbles, but I still don't like the way it looks when I use extension or anything like that. I definitely don't have bubbles, and it doesn't go past my natural nail. But yeah, I definitely think for beginners, it is easier to apply them on yourself, or if you do nails on yourself, it definitely is worth it. But for me personally, I feel like it's having too much bubbles right now. I can't seem to get how to work with it. I think I'm actually gonna go ahead and instead actually use my fingers to mold it into place. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and remove that off of that spatula. Kind of make a little tiny ball. Place it right a little bit away from the cuticle quarter, just like a hairline away. I have a space here. Once I have it like that, then I'm gonna go ahead and just place it on my natural nail. So doing it that way definitely seems a lot better, but I recommend using less. I've been using way too much, I noticed. I go ahead and just remove some of it. I'm basically trying different methods to get this to work in my favor right now. I like it because I don't have to actually, you know, hold the nail tip while it's curing, and it stays in place. Okay, so I basically went ahead and just filled the entire nail. I'm gonna go ahead and just remove the excess from the side walls. If you guys heard that pop, you guys can definitely hear that air bubble. It definitely just went away by gently pressing it down. Now this one, I do like it a lot better. It's definitely not reaching the end of my natural nail, and it just has that cleaner look on it. Really like how this one turned out. Now for the next one, I'm actually gonna go ahead and do it differently, but I'm gonna go ahead and first cure this first. So now for the next one, I'm gonna go ahead and grab some, not too much. I noticed that I'm applying way too much, like I said, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I don't use too much, and this seems like a lot, so I'm gonna just remove a tiny bit. I'm gonna go ahead and mold it into a little tiny ball, place it onto my natural nail. Again, I do have a peel base coat, and then on top I went ahead and applied a base coat. So now that I have that, I'm gonna go ahead and gently apply the nail tip. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the nail like this because I can't see the other way. I'm gonna go ahead and just gently. Okay, this way it definitely, just look how beautiful this looks. No bubbles. Okay, so this is definitely the way to go. Okay, really liked how this one turned out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and then cure, then I'll be back shortly. Now my pinky is very small, so I'm gonna go ahead and just grab a little bit of it, just like this. Actually, just a little bit more. I'm gonna place it in the middle of my natural nail. So now that I have the bead in the middle of my natural nail, I'm gonna go ahead and gently press it down. I have some on the side, so I'm gonna grab this end of my cuticle pusher, gently remove it. Now that I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and cure. So here is how the nails look. Definitely some look better than the others, but again, this is my first time trying out this. But I definitely really like how easier it is to apply them on. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go into filing. So I like to use these little small buffers here. I'm gonna just buff them. It just basically removes the shine, doesn't leave any harsh lines from filing. So here's how the nail tips look on. I went ahead and finished filing them and all of that. So the color that I'm going to go ahead and be using is the color BP22. Just look at how gorgeous this color is. Super pretty. And here's a look at the design that I went ahead and created. It took me a week to figure out the design just because I absolutely did not know how to incorporate this eggshell matte top coat on it. But I really wanted to go ahead and use it because I absolutely love it. I think it's just really pretty. Just look at how beautiful that looks. Super pretty. So I did really want to go ahead and use it. And finally, after like a while or so, I ended up figuring out the design that I wanted to do. And I'm very excited to do it. So again, I'm going in with this color. And I'm going to go ahead and just do one coat. Or maybe two coats actually of this color. Then cure for 30 seconds in between each coat. So here's how the nails look after the first coat. I went ahead and applied the second coat off camera. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the nail art. I'm going to go ahead and be placing a couple of colors onto my palette here. So here's the colors that I'm going to go ahead and be using. I'm also going to go ahead and be using this green dotting tool. I'm using the smaller end. And using each and every single color, I'm going to go ahead and kind of just do some random little dots here. I'm going to go ahead and be using these three colors, and I'm going to go ahead and place them right next to each other in my little palette here. Once I have the colors done, I'm going to go ahead and just use a dotting tool to kind of swirl the colors a little bit and not too much either. Then I'm going to go ahead and go in with my matte eggshell top coat and just do one thin layer on this nail first, then cure for 60 seconds. Now that that's been cured, this is how the nail looks after. Super gorgeous. I really love that matte effect with that eggshell little design. Looks gorgeous. Now I'm going to go ahead and just scoop up some of that color that I went ahead and previously swirled around. And now we're going to go ahead and just place it diagonally across the nail, just like so. Once I have the design down, or basically the little swirl effect that I want, I'm going to go ahead and then cure for 30 seconds. Now onto the index and pinky, I'm going to go ahead and apply some of this matte eggshell top coat as well, then cure for 30 seconds. So now that they've been cured, this is how the nails look after. I absolutely love the matte effect. It just definitely brings out the nails a lot more, rather than if I would have gone in with the glossy top coat. Now I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a close look at how the nails look from a different perspective, and just look at how gorgeous these are. I really love that effect. I can't wait for you guys to see the end of that now. Now I'm going to go ahead and be doing an ombre effect, and what I'm going to first go in with is my base coat, apply one thin layer, then cure for about 20 seconds. Once that's been cured, I'm going to grab some of this base coat again, and I'm going to go ahead and just apply it across my little palette here in a straight line. I'm making sure to apply a very good amount. Now to create my ombre effect, I'm going to go ahead and be using this ombre brush here. Just a very basic brush. I'm going to start off with this color here by Born Pretty, as I showed you guys earlier. I believe it's the color BP41 if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to go ahead and apply one thin layer. Make sure it's a very thin. And I'm only going to go ahead and apply it halfway through the nail. Once I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and go in with my ombre brush onto my little base coat there. I'm making sure that I grab an even amount, not too much either. Make sure you grab a very generous amount. Now I'm going to go ahead and just drag it down very gently. I'm going to make sure to kind of just do very gentle taps and pulls, just like this. I'm going to go ahead and continue doing that until I basically get the ombre effect that I want. I'm going to go ahead and be leaving this in real time so you guys are able to see. I know it's going to be kind of like long, but for me to get this ombre effect, I honestly want it to be perfect. But yeah, what I'm basically doing is going ahead and just using that base coat to kind of make sure that I gently ombre that out. Once I have the effect done, then I obviously go ahead and then cure. The best tip to get an ombre with gel polish is doing a very light taps as well. And if you have a lot of excess gel polish or anything like that on your brush, make sure you clean that out. I don't really recommend wiping your brush with any lint-free wipe or anything like that. I honestly just recommend having that palette there. You guys will later on see that I'm just going ahead and removing the excess color right on there, because if any lint gets in there, it just basically ruins the whole ombre effect. I personally think that. So I do want to mention that I actually only did 3 coats of the purple and then 3 coats of the blue to get that perfect ombre effect. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go, then I will be back shortly. Another great tip to avoid having those little streaks from the brushes is to actually wait a minute before curing, and then basically the gel polish should even out and you shouldn't have any of those streaks. Here I showed you guys that I was basically removing any of that excess gel polish, and now I'm going to go in with a little bit more base coat, and then I'm going to go ahead and continue pulling that gel polish down very gently, and make sure you don't add any pressure onto your brush, otherwise, you know, it's going to be very harsh. That ombre effect isn't going to be very nice, and it's also going to be very streaky and showing those lines from the brush as well. I went ahead and did 2 more coats of that blue and basically did the exact same thing that I showed you guys previously to achieve this ombre effect. Now I'm going to go ahead and go in with my matte eggshell top coat, and I absolutely love this. Just look how gorgeous these look. I'm also doing mention that sometimes you can get little tiny streaks, not too harshly either. But if you see very minimal streaking, once you apply the glossy top coat or matte top coat, those lines with basic are going to go ahead and blur out, and you won't have a problem with that. But now I'm going to go ahead and kind of scatter those little pieces around just because I know I have a lot. But I'm going to go ahead and just scatter them to the place that I want them to be, then cure for about 60 seconds. Once I've cured that, this is how the nails look after. Absolutely gorgeous. Just look at how beautiful all of these look, especially with the matte effect. I'm really liking that ombre nail so far. It's probably one of my favorites so far. But now I'm going to go ahead and do some foil. And so the first thing I'm going to go ahead and be using is this rhinestone glue gel. I honestly don't really know what this is. I purchased it like over a year ago. It still works perfectly great. And I'm going to go ahead and just be placing a little bit on the sides of that little wave that I created earlier. I'm going to grab some of this foil as well, and I'm going to go ahead and just cut up the little pieces. So here are all the little pieces that I'm going to go ahead and be using. I'm going to be using my tweezers, and then I'm going to go ahead and just place it right on top of that rhinestone glue gel or whatever it is. But once I have my foil done, I'm going to go ahead and cure this for about 30 seconds. So I went ahead and cured that, and this is how the nails look after. Let me know which nail design is your favorite so far. I'm in between the ombre and then that geode type of wave looking effect. Here I'm going to apply one thin layer of my matte top coat. Earlier I went ahead and tried placing that water decal, but it wouldn't stay on there just because it doesn't stay onto the matte surface. So I went ahead and applied one thin coat of this one. I'm going to go ahead and place my water decal in there for about 30 seconds. Take it out, and then I'm going to go ahead and just grab my tweezers and place it onto the nail. I went ahead and basically kind of place it in between that purple and blue ombre design, just right about there diagonally across the nail. Then I went ahead and cured that. After that, I did go ahead and apply a top coat throughout that nail. Here you guys can see it. But later on, I don't know what I did. I think I applied a matte top coat after. Here you guys are going to see later on. Here I'm applying some of that glossy top coat only in between that little wave geode type of design here and onto the foil as well. Here's how it looks. Here I'm using my matte top coat as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to apply one thin layer of this, then cure for about 60 seconds. After I went ahead and applied this matte top coat, I did go ahead and grab some top coat and just place it only onto the water decal to make it stand out in between that matte nail. Also, do want to mention these nails were not planned to be matte. Once I went ahead and finished the design, I realized like, wow, I really love how they look like this. So I went ahead and just kept them that way, and I kept some of it glossy. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. And if you guys have any questions about the solid nail tip glue gel, I definitely recommend. And if you guys have any questions, like I said, don't forget to leave them down below. Absolutely love the product so much. I definitely am going to go ahead and try it again sometime soon, just because I honestly really loved it and think that I'll probably do a better job the second time around. But anyway, that's it for today's video.